Good morning, Tara here. It's so good to have you. And for those of you that are new and are just starting to watch these videos, I just want to invite you and I want to say welcome. And I'm so glad to have you. And yesterday I was talking with a girlfriend and we started praying together. I always try to remain open, even when communicating with other people, to see if there's a message that the Lord has for me. I am a believer and I receive a lot of my revelation this way. Usually I call them downloads. I usually receive them when I'm talking with other people. And in that moment of prayer, what was brought to my attention was self-care. And how many times, do we have a schedule to hold us accountable and to keep us on track? However, the schedule can tend to get derailed because we feel burnout. So it's like, okay, we've got to take a step back because we took 10 forward and then 5 extra, and now we're burnt out and it's too much and we can't keep up with that pace. And sometimes our society teaches us that we have to go in so many directions, right? Just with jobs, with kids, with businesses, with education, with things that we're doing, just everyday life. And it can become a burden. Like, how many of us feel that sometimes our schedule is a burden, like a knapsack that's being carried over our back? And that can get very heavy and very draining, and it can be harder and harder to keep up with. And then when you're done, for the day or the week or whatever, you just crash and burn. And then you're not there for the relationships and the things that really matter to you, like partners or spouse or children, because you're so checked out. And that's not balance anymore. That's actually called striving. You're striving to achieve your productivity as opposed to allowing productivity to happen on your behalf. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to achieve things. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get things done in your day. These are all really good things. You do want to have something accomplished, but in order to be more productive, sometimes we have to first receive. How many of you have trouble receiving compliments or just receiving in general? Or, I know sometimes as a mom, I feel guilty when I decide to do that self-care and take that alone time to myself. But I absolutely encourage you to take that time by yourself and to do something that you love. Replenish yourself, because yes, we need to work. Yes, we need to serve others. Yes, there are things that we need to do, but part of serving others is learning how to serve self first. You have to replenish and recharge your batteries. You're not the Energizer Bunny forever, right? You need that time to find balance again. You need to discover yourself and find yourself and do something that you love. It doesn't have to be something that you take a lot of time with. It could be something that, you take 10, 15, 20 minutes out of your day. You should be doing this daily. And I like taking time in the tub, for example, with a candle and a good book, or I just like to meditate. I pray and ask for a scripture, and I'll reflect on that scripture, and just how good God is in the bathtub, sometimes. But that's different for everybody. It could be that you take a walk, could be that you read a book, could be that you go dancing, or you call a friend up. Like, when was the last time you connected with somebody that you care about? It's not that they don't mean something to you, but your other responsibilities and your spouse, your children, or your partner, or some other commitment in life is taking precedence over taking care of yourself. And I'm not saying stop the things that you're doing. I'm saying just reevaluate and see where maybe a boundary has been overextended, right? and you need to set boundaries. Yes, boundaries aren't just relationships. Boundaries are also things that you commit to that you overextend yourself with, or things that are getting in the way of doing the things that you are really passionate about. And you should be passionate about taking care of yourself. You shouldn't be a doormat to yourself. You need that time to be able to spend alone, because let me tell you something, sometimes downloads aren't just when you talk with other people and take that time to have that phone conversation. Sometimes you'll receive revelation and knowledge and strategies that you wouldn't otherwise reflect on and come to that understanding or even acknowledgement of. If you're not taking that time to be alone and to listen and to reflect and to draw upon. Sometimes we need that space to be creative with, or to grow, or to learn something. And sometimes it's just about receiving and accepting that we love ourselves. It's real easy for somebody to see the positive attributes, the good qualities in us, to see where we're going, but we have that difficulty in seeing that in ourselves. But we really shouldn't have that difficulty in seeing ourselves, because we have so much to offer. We have so much within us that's waiting to come out. But sometimes we think that the direction and the path that we took is that right way, when oftentimes life is really about checks and balances and about taking steps back in order to take steps forward. And we just need to love on ourselves and give ourselves a little bit of grace and mercy and show that we're worth it. Get that rejuvenation and rest time. We should be scheduling that in like we do our business hours. It should be the same thing. We should be scheduling self-care in like we do our work hours, or like our time commitments with our kids. That should be an everyday thing, and it doesn't have to be hours and hours long. Like I said, just a good 15 to 20 minutes to have by yourself to do something that you love. And when you step away, it'll be hard at first. You'll feel restless. You'll feel, be tempting to feel guilty about taking that time, but don't feel guilty about that. You should not feel guilty. Free yourself from that. Enjoy time that you have alone, even if you have to lock yourself in that bathroom for 10 minutes, or, go outside and take that walk for 10 minutes. And don't be afraid to tell somebody in your household, like your spouse or your significant other, if you have one, don't be afraid to say, hey, you need to communicate that. I need time out. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, and I'm feeling burnt out, and I need some space, and I need some time to reconnect and regather my thoughts so that I can be, whatever it is, that better business partner, that better, employee, that better spouse, that better, parent, right? We are that better friend sometimes. Sometimes we need that to regather, to regroup our thoughts, and there's nothing wrong with that. So give yourself permission to have reflection time, to have downtime, to have rest time, where you can do something and it be about you. That's not selfish. That's called selfless. Because if you're doing something and you're serving other people and you're expecting them, you're under that expectation that you want them to receive your service or your help or your ministering or whatever it is. If you're not in a spot of receiving self-care yourself, then how do you expect other people to follow you and receive? How do you expect to have authority over that area? You don't. You absolutely have no authority over that. And that would be why people aren't listening to you or following what you're saying or receiving what you're saying, for that matter. And you want to be a safe place to other people, but you have to learn how to be safe for yourself. You need that time. You need to be able to have space. It is not always about doing. Take it from somebody that is recovering from being a doer. It is not about doing. I will tell you this. Yesterday, here's a really good example. Yesterday, I sat down and, this never happens, right? Like usually I lead a very active lifestyle, but it was tempting for my mind to go 1,000 directions and think about all the things that I needed to get done for the day. And then finally I just said no. I told myself to stop and sit, ironically enough. And that was more productive for me than running in 10 different circles. And I sat down and I had about 4 solid hours of nothing but committing to what I had prayed about that was in front of me. I took the things off of my plate that either could be delegated to somebody else, or the things on my plate that didn't have as much high-ranking precedence, or that didn't mean the most to me at that moment. I took some of those things off my plate that automatically created more time for me. That gave me about 4 hours worth of time. I saw on my schedule where I could reschedule some things and did. And boy, did that free up time for me. That was just awesome, because then I didn't allow myself to sit there in a loophole of routine that felt heavy to me. It gave me flexibility to move and to do different things in my day that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise done if I would have just stayed in go mode. So it paid to stay back and sit back and say, hey, I need to regroup and reschedule a few things so I can move a little bit more fluidly and have that flexibility. And that's not a bad thing. That was a good thing. I actually got triple the things done. And not only that, but things came back to me. I actually had favor yesterday. I had somebody out of the blue just ask me if I would be willing to do a blog on a topic for a ministry that's near and dear to my heart. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting to receive that. What an honor, right? And then I had people writing on my wall and drawing business to me. I had people messaging me, you know, and when I do and I try to make those results happen, it never flows like that. When I sat still, it's like everything came to me. It was effortless. I didn't even have to do the work. It didn't even feel like work to me any longer. It actually felt like I could rest and relax and take things at their own pace. Yeah, sometimes timing is important. Sequence is important. Alignment absolutely can matter. But sometimes when we take a step back, it is so much better for us and we receive double the portion as opposed to just receiving the thing that we thought that was good. You know, it's like the difference between what is good but what is best. And sometimes there's something better for you, but you can't see it until you get out of the way of yourself. And then you realize, oh my gosh, now I can receive something. You know, and so sometimes you have to step back so you can receive more. It's just like, you know, we have spring coming. It's just like with the bushes. I have this talk periodically throughout my messages, right? Sometimes it has to be pruned back and sometimes it has to sit there through a season and grow before flowers produce or before it can become that thing that you want it to be. We're the same way. If we don't give ourselves self-care and nourishment and feed our mind and feed our heart things that will help us grow and take the time to recover and take the time to be fed, it's not going to fare well. All it's going to lead to is burnout. So if you're in that moment of just frustration and burnout or things feel heavy to you, take a step back and love on yourself. Do something to help yourself recover. Love yourself enough to receive yourself, to receive self-care for you. Because at the end of the day, you're going to walk away feeling like, oh my gosh, I mean, there was nothing more rewarding than last night. Spending that quality time, for me, it's my husband and my kids. There was nothing more rewarding than being able to spend quality time with them and make a nice dinner, relax. I even got to spend time having a long talk with my husband and just snuggling, and we decided to do something together, and that was so rewarding. It was so worth just my day of stepping back and regrouping so that way I wasn't all over the place and still trying to figure out things late at night when I should have had that time with them. And so I encourage you to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my contact information here below in the comments, and I just want to stay connected with you. I am going to be creating a VIP list. I mentioned that I believe yesterday. I will let you know. That will be another way to stay connected with me, and it'll be good because rather than just receiving Facebook Lives, you're also going to be receiving information through me on email on various topics, you know, pertaining to health, pertaining to kitchen, pertaining to meals, pertaining to life in general, personal development. You know, if you're wanting more time freedom, things like that, that's going to be a really solid way to communicate with me. I am working on it. I ask for your patience, but when it is up and running, I will certainly let you know, and I'll start inviting you. There will be a video. You'll be able to fill out a short form, and you'll be able to opt in and receive content from me that way too. So you'll have double the content, double the portion from me in a shorter amount of time. Yay, I'm really excited about this actually, and I look forward to connecting with you more. Thank you so much for taking the time to connect today. Let me know how I can serve with you, partner with you, be supportive of you, and until next time, have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.